What is up, everybody? I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees. Apologies about the issues going on with any audio. Um, really appreciate you guys showing up, showing out, showing us love. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about regarding the news with Juan Soto because he signed a mega deal with the New York Mets. Obviously, now the Yankees are going to be they're going to be in a weird situation. We're going to talk about that and more. Me and Alex Alex and I, excuse me, had an extensive uh, we went into kind of the whole situation with Soto, with a plan B, all that stuff. And yeah, it's hard to argue this is anything other than a disappointing day. It really is. So with that being said, let's get started going into the comment section here. I apologize about my audio situation. I've been moving my setup a little bit from in and out of school to record podcasts when I'm on campus, and also of course be here to stream. But with that being said, let's get started talking with the comment section. Brandon Moore says, Ryan, I want to start with Yankees. How Steinbrenner, Brian Cashman now has to do now after Juan Soto signed with the Mets. Yankees spend the money wisely and appropriately. Ryan, watching Jason 161 River Ave on his live chat, live along Hector. Let's be patient. I said, Hector, I'm very hard pass on Santander. Personally, he spells regression and injury prone. Hold on with my mic. Apologies there. But yeah, look, I would say I'd pass on Anthony Santander personally. Now, that depends on the price tag, that depends on the market, that depends on the situation. I'm a big believer that you don't want to rule out anything without, having what would I say? Without having some you want something resembling. I apologize for my audio. I don't understand why it's being so weird. Anywho, might need to buy a new XLR cable. I apologize for all the issues and appreciate you guys sticking through for some of these issues. But look, I personally am not a huge Santander guy. I haven't been for a while. We're going to try to work with this. I apologize again. Sorry for the audio issues. I'm so sorry, guys. Let's just focus on the comments now. Look, I'm personally not a big fan of sending Anthony Santander, but I also understand, you got to take what the market gives you. If Anthony Santander's market crumbles, then he's someone who could be available for better than market value, and he can provide some power for you in the middle of your lineup. You have to absolutely explore what it would take to do that. I'd also like to add in regards to the injury proneness. I do have concerns with signing any player that has an extensive injury history. But, for position players, at least, I do believe that injury proneness is something that can kind of go away. I mean, Santander in this instance, and this is where I'm going to push back. Santander has played at least 150 games each of the last 3 seasons. So I don't particularly view him as an injury prone player who I'd be worried about not being able to get max value out of and get a full season out of. I'm fully confident he'd give me a full season. I'm fully confident he'd play 150 plus games. I'd be kind of shocked if I didn't get at least 600 play appearances if my team signed him. So, I'm a little bit, I push back on this notion that, the Yankees should stay away from Santander for health related reasons. I believe there are better reasons to stay away from Santander that have nothing to do with health, because I think that, this is someone who has an extensive track record of being pretty healthy. First, I'd like to say it needs to be understood just what amount of money the Yankees are playing with, as in it's overall it's not the overall as it seems to think. In my honest opinion, the AAV they were offering. Look, I think the Yankees made an aggressive offer. I think they made an offer that kind of goes above what I perceive to be what the Yankees thought. Like, I never thought the Yankees were going to get to $760 million. So, I'm a little bit kind of curious to see where the Yankees go from here. Obviously, I'm kind of stunned it got to $800 million, which, look, I'm going to be honest. Juan Soto's deal is essentially an $805 million deal. It has escalators, but like, it escalates if Soto chooses to opt in. He's guaranteed to make $805 million if he stays with the Mets. So unless he takes an opt out and then hits the market, I don't know. I personally think that it's a lot of money, and it's a money that, I understand why the Yankees didn't go there. I personally would have went there. But there's no Cashman didn't even get the final word here. It seemed that the Mets had the final offer. According to a report, Cashman said he did not know if Soto would have been a Yankee if they matched the Mets offer. Once the Yankees submitted their final offer, the next communication with Boris was when he told Cashman he had signed with the Mets. So, this is something where I don't know if Soto really wanted to be a Yankee the way that most people considered that. So, that's where we're at. Ryan, I think the Yankees should do a trade for Cody Bellinger, discussing with Jason 161 his live chat this afternoon, and Michael Meza of the Ford Trading Express is on board with that. Look, I think that Cody Bellinger is a solid baseball player. I don't think his deficiency is not being good. I think that his deficiency is not being worth that money. He's not worth $27.6 million. So a little bit stunned not a little bit stunned, a little bit weary about giving him that kind of money. And I'm going to be weary about giving him that kind of money and acquiring him at that price point. I'm sorry. Brandon, I'd agree on the Santander pass. I'd move on Fried, Bellinger, and this one might surprise Santana. I would not sign with I wouldn't sign Max Fried at the money he may get. I don't think a pitcher who has the extensive injury history that Max Fried does is someone you want to guarantee $200 million to while having multiple holes in your lineup. Without Juan Soto, if the Yankees had gotten Juan Soto, you get one more decent bat, I think that's fine. But personally, I think the New York Yankees should go out and acquire another 3 bats potentially. I think they're going to acquire first baseman. I think it's a guarantee that they'll acquire an outfielder, and I think it should be in the conversation to acquire second baseman. I believe if you're going to pick between Ben Rice and Caleb Durbin to start as a rookie, I would pick Ben Rice, and I would argue that a lot of people in here wouldn't feel comfortable starting Ben Rice as their first baseman to open the season. So, if we're going to be on the same page here, I think the conclusion is the New York Yankees need 3 bats. And again, they're replacing Juan Soto. They're not replacing Gleyber Torres. They're not replacing, the production of Jazz Chisholm. They're not replacing Austin Wells. They're replacing the second best hitter on the team, the best left-handed hitter on the team, and a guy who was the second best hitter in baseball in terms of WRC plus. Or it might have been third, but it was Judge one, and then him and Ohtani were roughly the same in terms of OPS plus and WRC plus. We're talking about replacing a hitter who does not exist in the market. A hitter that, quite honestly, it's a hitter who doesn't exist. It's a hitter who doesn't you can't acquire a 180 WRC plus hitter on the free agent market. I'm sorry. So, I just want to point that out before we talk about, guaranteeing X guy this money. We should go after that guy, this guy, that guy. I think the Yankees need to acquire 3 bats. And if the Yankees need to acquire 3 bats, I don't think they can do it, guaranteeing $200 million to Max Fried. If they do, tip the hat. If they acquire a starting pitcher, I think they can control the pitching market. But after looking at some of the reports about the money he's going to get, man, if it's 180, I can do that. If it's over $200 million, I can't get there. I cannot get there at over $200 million. I think that's the type of pitcher who you need to get security that they're going to make 200 innings or 190 innings or strike out, 35% of batters faced. That is not the player that Max Fried is. He's a great pitcher, but I don't think he's $200 million level of great. I could be wrong. And if we sign him, I hope I'm very wrong and that he is $300 million, of greatness. I hope he's better than his $200 million price tag. I'd also pass on Burns and go for Fried. I'd like to see him go after Crochet, but I don't think you have the prospects the White Sox are looking for. Graham, I agree that if the Yankees could go get Garrett Crochet, he'd be my preferred pick so that you don't have to guarantee money to a starting pitcher. If you had to guarantee money to Garrett Crochet, would likely be better than market value because it would be on an extension. But I would have to disagree when it comes to Burns versus Max Fried. The money for Corbin Burns will be higher than the money for Max Fried. I expect him to at least get another year or two based on the fact that Burns is a year younger than Fried. But I'd also like to add, in terms of that increased salary, I mean, just how much higher is it going to be? If Fried gets, let's say, $210 million over a 7-year window, I'd be shocked. Really, if Burns was $5 to $6 million higher in terms of AAV with 2 extra years. That would be quite a surprise to me. That'd be nearing the Garrett Cole contract. If it's $36 million a year, and if it's a 9-year deal, that's $324 million. I'd be stunned if he got that money. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not tapped in to know Corbin Burns' market right now, what Boris is demanding, what Burns is demanding. But what I do know is that the New York Yankees, if they got, if you're talking about 7 for 30, or 7 years, $30 million, or 8 years, $32 million. Give me the 8 years, $32 million for Corbin Burns any day of the week. He is much more durable. He is much more consistent. You know how many innings you're going to get out of him. You know you're going to get a lot of starts out of him. You know he's a bulldog. I think the art of being someone who can make 30-plus starts, pitch 190 to 200 innings a year is a lost art. It is a rarity. It is something that pitchers cannot do consistently. Few pitchers can do what Corbin Burns does from a volume standpoint. And, oh, yeah, he's one of the elite run preventers in the league. That's why I would go out and get Corbin Burns instead of Max Fried if it was my choice. Again, Yankees are going to do their own scouting, their own looking into it. Maybe there's something I don't know that the industry knows, but I personally, that's where I'm at. I'm very much a Corbin Burns kind of guy here. Look, Juan Soto leaving sucks because, Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole, like, we're not going to have many more years of them being at the top of their game. You could argue Garrett Cole is no longer at the top of his game. He's really good, but not, striking out 40% of batters face the way he did in Houston. So, there's some truth to this. Told you it was going to happen. Cool. Very sad day. Yes, Brett, a very sad day. What's good, Ryan? Here's my plan B. Fried, Teoscar, Walker, best I can figure right now. I think, I don't think they're going to go get Christian Walker. Personally, I could be wrong. I don't know if they're going to get him. That's just opinion, but they're certainly interested. They certainly like him. Jack Curry mentioned him. Jack Curry mentioned him on the, he mentioned it on Hot Stove today. It's clearly a player of interest for the New York Yankees and someone I expect them to have a ton of dialogue with over the winter. I could see this offseason happening. It just seems like a lot of money that they'll spend. And also, they'd have to give up 3 sets of draft picks. I wonder if that's something that scares the Yankees off of going after 3 players who have the qualifying offer. I love my Yankees. Keith, I do too. He used us. It seems he may have. SO, lost a Hall of Fame hitter and 8.1 WAR. Damn, it's tough. We're done. Don't do anything else at this point. Jake, I disagree. Get Cody. That's our only choice. I disagree with that as well. Ryan, I'm a hard pass on Carlos Correa. I don't want on the Yankees. I don't want him. He's a cheater. I want him, and I don't care that he's a cheater, that he was a cheater. He didn't cheat in terms of performance-enhancing drugs. He was part of a sign skilling scandal. I can live with it. He's an excellent ball player. There are injury concerns, but I think the off-field and on-field contributions are something the Yankees desperately need. We're talking about a power-hitting infielder who has elite plate discipline, elite bat-to-ball skills, power to all fields. This is the kind of player who, will put up a 130 to 140 WRC plus and be that upper echelon player, the kind of player who can provide excellent defense at third base based on his resume of being one of the premier defensive shortstops in the sport. Add that again, if you're having a third baseman who's giving you +8 outs above average, let's say, or +5, let's get conservative, let's get you more conservative. Let's say +3 outs above average, or +4 outs above average. Not barely above, but comfortably above average, but not elite defense at third base. And he's giving you a 130 to 140 WRC plus bat, even over 120 to 130 games. We're talking about a premier ball player. And the Yankees, here's the thing that sucks about losing Soto. There are not premier baseball players on the market. There are good ones. There are fun ones. There are interesting fits, but there are very few premier ball players on the market. Carlos Correa, he's someone who could be in the Hall of Fame when it's all said and done. So, that's the kind of player I will never pass up on the opportunity to acquire, especially when he only has 4 guaranteed years of his deal. 4 years guaranteed of his deal. You got him for his age 30, 31, 32, 33 seasons. Absolutely would do it. That's a no-brainer for me. If the Minnesota Twins are looking for pitching, the Yankees can provide pitching. If the Minnesota Twins are looking for prospects, that's where I think the Yankees would have a little more trouble if they were looking for more of a prospect-based package. But if they're looking for a proven major league starting pitcher, Clark Schmidt, Luis Seal, how you feeling, right? Like, do you have controllable starting pitching at a low cost that could intrigue the Minnesota Twins? There are avenues for you to cut costs in terms of acquiring position player talent. Again, whether that's, going cheap at first base, maybe that's acquiring Carlos Santana, whether it's, taking a flyer in the outfield, maybe you go to someone like a Max Kepler, take a little bit of a 1-year deal there, have Kepler. You just have the Minnesota Twins. So That's pretty funny. But you get my point. There are ways to circumvent that and then go out and get a starting pitcher. I think Carlos Correa is a premier talent, and he's someone I wouldn't pass up on. Luis Robert, that's another interesting player, Mr. AC03. The Yankees, I feel like Luis Robert could have the kind of renaissance that Jazz Chisholm had with the Yankees, where this was a player who was not performing well in a smaller market team, in an uncompetitive environment. Perhaps it has negatively affected his focus, his ability to concentrate and grind through these games. I think the Yankees would be getting better with Luis Robert, but the price tag seems to be something that I'm not sure the Yankees can match. Are other teams willing to offer more than the New York Yankees? If the Yankees have to leave Jason Dominguez out of an offer, what can they reasonably offer that's going to intrigue the Chicago White Sox, who are looking for position players? The Yankees don't have as many position player prospects as they do pitching prospects after this recent draft. The Yankees drafted a slew of right-handed and left-handed pitchers from the 2024 draft class. And then you look at the Yankee farm system, are you trading a Roderick Arias? You probably have to get a Luis Robert. Are you trading a George Lombard? The Yankees internally seem to view him very highly. They think the world of him. I don't think they'd want to trade him before he, in their eyes, gets a chance to break out. I don't think an Everson Pereira is appealing to them. I don't believe an Oswald Peraza, a Jorbit Vivas, a Caleb Durbin is providing the same kind of value that the White Sox, Chris Getz, the GM of the White Sox, can go out and get from other teams. So I think it'd be a good fit for the Yankees, but I don't think the Yankees are a good fit for someone like Luis Robert Jr. Losing Soto sucks, but is there any chance that Cashman's playing Cohen to drive the price up and maybe limit the Mets spending? As much money as the Mets have, they have to have some sort of limit. John Coley, I doubt that the New York Yankees were trying to drive up the price tag for the New York Mets. I think they genuinely just really wanted the ball player. They didn't get the ball player. Cohen put $800 million basically on the table and said, try me. And the Yankees they weren't willing to go to $800 million, and understandably so. I understand not saying, hey, here's $800 million. We can get the player if we match your offer, right? I get that. The Yankees, as Jack Curry mentioned, never really got the sense that Juan Soto wanted to be a Yankee. So it never really felt like he was going to just come back and give them the chance to match and bring him home. So, I fully believe that the New York Yankees did everything they could. Again, you're talking about a $760 million offer on the table. It's quite hard for me to sit here and argue that Hal Steinbrenner didn't put his best foot forward, Brian Cashman didn't put his best foot forward, and that the Yankees, didn't do enough to try to get Soto. They did what I thought would be enough to get Soto. Unfortunately, Steve Cohen went to another level that the Yankees just weren't willing to go to. I don't want to be rash, but we got to start being bullish and go get some fucking guys. No, not doing that is how we ended up with so many teams with Judge and nobody else. Look, things are happening. Players are available still. If someone like Max Fried goes off the board today, and the Yankees don't get him, maybe you start panicking, wondering where the Yankees are going to go. Again, I'm someone who doesn't really want Max Fried, but I understand he's one of the higher targets on the Yankees list, and that he's someone the Yankees have, really talked about a lot. So, I'm aware of the fact that missing out on him would be the Yankees missing out on someone they had their eyes on. Again, I'm not a big fan, but I get it. I want to exercise some patience here. Not everyone's going to sign in the winter meetings, and not everyone's going to agree to a deal right now. So yeah, we'll see. Find a way to get Kyle Tucker, says Craig Baker. Tucker and Walker, and now you can say you legit got better. A dream scenario. I heavily doubt that the New York Yankees are going to trade for Juan Soto for Kyle Tucker. I don't think the Yankees are trading for Kyle Tucker this winter. I would love it. I tweeted about it so many times saying I'd trade the entire farm system. I'd send X, Y, and Z. But I don't buy that the Houston Astros are going to trade Kyle Tucker, and I don't buy that the Houston Astros would ultimately reach the decision to send their best player, arguably, to the New York Yankees. I don't see it. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Kyle Tucker is donning the pinstripes on opening day, but I'm going to say I'm going to doubt that heavily. So, Christian Walker, great player. I wonder how aggressive the Yankees would be to make a bid. I wonder how much the Yankees would be willing to go out and get, make an aggressive offer to get him. I wonder how many years they're going to, but, we'll see. I'm not 100% sure. Is this a good offseason as a plan B? Burns, Bellinger, Scott, Santana. I think they're much better on the pitching side. I think offensively, take a huge step back offensively. I know that third base should be better than it was at the start of the season last year because they have Jazz for the whole year. I do think Santana and Bellinger are better than Yeah, no, are better than Verdugo. Well, Bellinger isn't replacing Verdugo, so let me hold that one off. I think Santana would be better than Anthony Rizzo, but Santana's older. There is a risk that he falls off, and that's not me saying I wouldn't sign him. That's just a reality. Bellinger is a huge downgrade from Juan Soto. Dominguez is, I think, an upgrade over Alex Verdugo offensively, but I'm not sure if the defense, value is going to tank his overall value. I personally think this ball club would be a worse ball club than last year's team by a pretty considerable margin, even if I think on the pitching side, they'd be a little bit better. And the offensive side, it's just a huge downgrade from Soto to the incumbent, from Soto to the players you have on this list. I don't give a fuck if Correa is a cheater. I would make him a Yankee somehow. I agree. I 100% agree. LR can't stay healthy. Don't know who that is. Volpe, Profar, Judge, Chisholm, Stanton, Wells, Dominguez, Santana, Durbin. Been working on this today. How does this look? Personally, I think in any offseason plan where you do not have Juan Soto, and obviously we no longer can have Juan Soto in this offseason plan, Caleb Durbin cannot be in the starting lineup. I love Caleb Durbin. He's my guy, but I think you need to have a more proven option at second base in order to compete with the 2024 team. I think the trade market's the best way to go this offseason. I would agree. I think the trade market is the best way to go out and improve, on the offensive side of the ball at the very least. I'm so depressed. I get it. I get it. I get it, man. I do. Mike's work is Soto's luck is gone. Yeah. Having to choose between Burns and Fried makes me really wish we got Snell. Look, Max Fried and Blake Snell, those are two players who obviously they're both left-handed, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think Blake Snell, there was no shot the Yankees were going to get Blake Snell at that price tag. The Dodgers made an extremely aggressive bid. So, So those priorities are just as broken as your audio cable. I disagree. He went out and got the most money. The New York Yankees should have just paid him more money, right? Or I guess maybe he didn't want to be a Yankee. So there are a lot of ways to look at this, but I don't think the right way to look at this is that Juan Soto is a misguided soul who, is a bad decision maker. I think Juan Soto is someone who saw the money and chased the money. That's fair. In a Bellinger trade, would you also try to get Seiya Suzuki? Absolutely, but I think the Yankees would be denied. Ryan, Joe here. Think Yankees should try and trade for that Shohei guy. Let me know. Love you, Joe. Yeah, I agree. Yankees should try to go for Shohei. Just read this tweet. If the Yankees had Judge second and Soto third all year, Judge would have set home run records and Soto would have been $150 million per. Thoughts? I disagree. I think Juan Soto's greatness is independent of Aaron Judge hitting behind him. Thoughts on going after Tanner Scott? I'd love Tanner Scott just from like a straight standpoint of how good he is, but I don't believe that the New York Yankees are going to pay up for him, nor do I think they should pay up for him. What is your feeling on a contract that Teoscar Hernandez will get? 4 years, $80 million. I think that's the number. We'll see. Hassan Kim to New York. I agree, dude. I'd love it, Tim. I'd love Hassan Kim to the Yankees. Fully on board with Naylor, signing Fried, then flipping Nestor for Naylor is easy money. # need that. Look, that makes them a better team than they are currently. But again, I do proceed with caution when it comes to recommending that the Yankees should go out and acquire a premium starting pitcher who's going to make $200 million. Bad contracts in the trade market are better than the new free agent contracts. I agree. If Jacoby Bellinsbury is on my team, going to explode. Yeah, I'm not a huge Bellinger guy at the moment. Yankees have $325 million in salary for 2025. Have a $325 million salary for 2025. We'll see. We talked about that already. Don't know what would be more plausible not signing Taylor because it would be hard to figure out where he's playing in the outfield, or signing him because that's a real possibility that Hal Steinbrenner would not pay Tucker. I don't think it has any indication about Kyle Tucker versus wanting to just get better. The Yankees can't be thinking about Kyle Tucker. They have to be thinking about what's going to make them better in their current day. And what I think would make them better today is acquiring Teoscar Hernandez. Now, whether they acquire Teoscar Hernandez or not remains to be seen. Whether they should, in my opinion, depends on the price tag. So, I'm very fluid on that situation. Hey, Ryan, you're the man. I'm on the ledge. Soto was the best. Jonathan, I completely understand your pain. I completely understand your frustration with this stuff. So, yeah. Would you use Heel and Dominguez for Tucker? Absolutely. Bellinger showed short deal, though. Sure, but I'm just worried about the money. That's really it. Took some ideas from Moneyball. The 4 stars we're losing had a combined 355. I think it was higher than 355 OPS. Look, I think that the Yankees just you're trying to replace the sum of starters you're losing and hope that those sum of starters are better. But it does take time to try to figure that out, right? Like you're probably gonna go Dominguez for one of those outfielders. You got to average. I think what you have to do is average Soto, Verdugo, and Rizzo's, and then you also have to count for other players' production. But, I just say focus on Rizzo and Verdugo. Take Soto's OPS, combine all of them together, and you're going to end up with a really high number, a number that the Yankees I heavily doubt will match this offseason. So I do think they'll be a worse offense than last year's offense, just from that standpoint. But I think they could be a better pitching staff, and maybe that's something that, evens it out. Or maybe players on the team that remain from last year perform better than the teams on this year. So I could be wrong. Burns, Bellinger, hey, they'd be better with them than without them, I guess. Buehler is a better option if they need to trade Smith. I like Buehler. I'm not sure. You replace Soto with Vlad Jr. in 2026. There's no replacing Juan Soto. I'm sorry. And I think the only player who can come close to that is Kyle Tucker. It's simple offer the farm and $500 million for Kyle Tucker. It requires the Astros to say yes. Right? So, yeah. Cashman said second base underperformed at second base. I like the honest talk. I agree. Gleyber Torres underperformed. He was not a good enough hitter compared to where the Yankees were at. So, yeah. We need Christian Walker, Burns, and Santander. He's a great switch hitter. I think he'll do well at Yankee Stadium. I think Anthony Santander, the hitter, intrigues me. Anthony Santander, the hitter, is better than what the Yankees have. Anthony Santander, the right fielder, scares me. Anthony Santander, for 4 years, scares me. Anthony Santander is a good player. He's not a great one. I would consider moving him to first base. I don't know if I can stick him in the outfield. I think for position players, their priority would be outfield, first base, then second base or third base in that order. I would agree. I think they're going to go out and get an outfielder. I think they're going to go out and get a first baseman, and I'm confident they'll get a second baseman, but not as confident as first or the outfield. We don't need to replace Soto, but we can get three very good players to plug 3 holes. Hopefully, we'll see. I'm depressed. Give me Kyle Tucker. It's the worst offseason in baseball history. I agree. I don't agree it's the worst ever, but it's a rough offseason that because they didn't sign Juan Soto. And yeah, I'm worried about what Corbin Burns is going to get as well. Just because I think Burns is better than Fried does not mean I want to really sign Corbin Burns. It just means if we're going to pick between paying one of the two, I'll pay Burns. Hassan Kim, Walker, and Teoscar Hernandez. That certainly improves your offense. I do think the Yankees would go through the trade market to get at least one of their bats. Now, one thing I wanted to propose to you guys, and I'd love to get feedback on this. Would you be okay with an offseason where the Yankees perhaps made a trade where they acquired Cody Bellinger and Nico Hoerner in a package deal and then added a first baseman through free agency or the trade market? I'd assume it's free agency at that point. Whether it's, maybe acquiring Christian Walker, Cody Bellinger, Nico Hoerner, and then signing a starting pitcher. I think that's a realistic offseason. I think that would make the Yankees considerably better as well. You're adding 3 players who were above average hitters last year, 3 players who, as a whole are, probably a better trio of players, or not a better trio, excuse me, a good enough trio of players that you're not taking a massive step down from the group of Rizzo, Verdugo, Soto. Soto's so good that I think that trio of players is still better. I think that's something that you'd have to consider, but I do think that having someone like Cody Bellinger, if you're going to acquire him, he's got to play the outfield. I don't really love the idea of acquiring Cody Bellinger to be my first baseman. I know that had nothing to do with what you said to him, but I just was throwing it out there. Just throw it out there. Yankees have to be smart this offseason. In 2026, Tucker and Vlad are free agents. That's another thing, too. There are 2 premium under 30 free agents that are going to hit the market in 2025. It'll be very interesting to see. I think the Yankees should stay away from that. That's why, again, I don't know if the Yankees are going to stay away from long-term money. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen with the Yankees. I don't know how they're going to go about this offseason and how that kind of stuff's going to happen. So, yeah. There are ways to negotiate Soto. Negate Soto when you have to play the Mets. Let's not get too disappointed. Look, you've got to go out and get better. For pitching, we also need Tanner Scott. I don't think we need Tanner Scott. I think he'd be nice, but I don't think we need him. We don't need a second baseman necessarily. Yeah, but I say second base to say that they need another guy on the dirt that isn't first base. So, yeah. I just don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of having 3 big contracts in a rotation. I'd be more in on Evaldi or Buehler. I agree. I'd be very much in on Nathan Evaldi. I think that's the kind of player. I think that's the kind of player I'd be into. Instead of starting pitching first, that'd be fun because you can move a starting pitcher from your rotation to go out and get a bat. Fried is a tremendous pitcher and will cost less than Burns. I think he's tremendous, but I don't think he's better than Burns. So imagine Hernandez, Naylor, and Profar. I don't think Profar can play third base for you. Boone in a turtleneck, Christ. I fuck with the turtlenecks. I'm sorry. Hi, Ryan. We need Corbin Burns, Luis Ariz, Devin Williams. Let Spencer Jones take over in center field. Dominguez in left. Judge right field. Spencer Jones is not major league ready. I apologize. No to Santander, no to Bregman. The Yankees seem to be not interested in Bregman, but they did mention. I apologize for not throwing this into the tweet that I put on Fire Yankees. I swear I didn't hear his name. I guess I was wrong. Anthony Santander is someone that was mentioned as someone the Yankees are keeping eyes on. Taylor Ward, I would love Taylor Ward, but the Angels seem to be in buy mode. They, for some reason, are acquiring players and not selling, so they're weird. Devin Williams will not be moved, I think. I agree. I don't think he'll be moved this winter. I think the Yankees should pursue Roki Sasaki. They have enough money. The problem is not money. The problem is I don't think Roki Sasaki wants to be a New York Yankee. I fully believe until he doesn't go there that he will be a Los Angeles Dodger. Taylor Ward played with Judge in college. That's interesting. Yankees trade Bellinger, Paredes, sign Teoscar Hernandez to a 3-year deal to play left field, start Dominguez in center field, sign Burns and Fried, sign Tanner Scott, trade for Mason Miller, Ryan Helsley as your closer. There's a lot going on here. I don't think the Yankees could pull off this offseason. It would require them to add a significant amount of payroll. It would require them to take on Bellinger's money. It would require them to sign Teoscar Hernandez. It would require them to sign one of the premier starters available. It would require them to sign a top-of-the-market bullpen arm. And finally, it would require them to make a massive trade for a closer. If this happened, they'd be a great team. I don't foresee it happening. I do not believe the Yankees have the financial resources or the prospect capital to get this done. No to Walker when Vlad is a free agent after next year. Vlad is not a guarantee to go to the New York Yankees. So I don't know why we're looking at him as a reason to not get Christian Walker. I would say you avoid or you wonder about giving out longer-term deals, 7 or 8-year deals, because you have a flurry of good free agents hitting the market next year. But I'm absolutely not in the market of, Christian Walker, let's just not sign Christian Walker because Vlad's a free agent, even though we don't know if Vlad's going to be here, So, I don't know. I really don't know. I hate Paredes. One trick pony is Paredes. I think he's a good player. Max Fried, Teoscar Hernandez, Bellinger, Yandy Diaz, Nico Horner, Minter, and Doval. I like Minter as a free agent target. I like Doval as a trade target. I have spoken very highly about Yandy Diaz. I'm assuming you meant Yandy Diaz or Cody Bellinger as trade targets. Nico Horner. Now, look, and from a free agency standpoint, I think they can pull off Max Fried and Teoscar Hernandez. Now, on a trade standpoint, I think maybe you could pull off a deal where you get Yandy Diaz because you have pitching talent maybe that you can move. Maybe you're able to acquire a cost-controlled bat. That's what I would do. I'd try to shop one of the cost-controlled pitchers the Yankees have to try to get a cost-controlled bat, especially because the position player market does not particularly inspire me. We'll see what the Yankees could do from there, but I like this offseason plan in terms of where it gets for the Yankees. Just realized we get a draft pick next year because the Yankees signed Soto. Yay, it's a 4th-round pick. It's not even a first. It's truly a bummer of a situation. Let me cook, sign Manaea and Buehler, bring back Glaber, Teoscar. Thoughts? I think they need a first baseman in this scenario, but I think their pitching staff is considerably better in that situation. That's where I'm at. Craig gets hurt too much. I like Correa a lot. I'm sorry, I do like him a lot. Tucker to New York. I would love Tucker to the Yankees. Get Bregman. I don't think the Yankees are going to get Alex Bregman, although I would say this, I'd rather pay Alex Bregman than one of the top pitchers in the market. That's just, where I'm at. Trade Dominguez and Heel for Tucker. I would do it if that's what it took. It's not just the draft picks. Don't they have to give up international money as well? Yes, but I'm not concerned about that because I don't think it's fair at all to Roki. It's not fair at all. I don't think Roki Sasaki is going to care about the IFA stuff. Why would Roki Sasaki care about money? And I'm going to just hire my chair for a second. Why would he care about money when he decided to enter free agency early and forego, making $200 million in 2 years, basically? At the very least, the guy was going to get a 9-figure deal. And he just said, no, I just want to go to the major leagues. So, I don't think money is as big of a deal for Roki Sasaki. I know that's not what you're mentioning, but I'm just mentioning that just to say it. Fried, Profar, Bellinger, trade possibilities arise, Donovan Wade, and Lau. I'm just going to yawn for a second. Sorry. Look, if they got Fried, Profar, and then he could go out and swing a trade for a Nathaniel Lowe, you've got your first baseman, you've got your left fielder, you've got a starting pitcher. Potentially you could go out and acquire a middle infielder. It'd be a little harder to acquire a middle infielder probably than acquiring a first baseman. Personally, I think Brandon Donovan's the player here who appeals to me the most. I think you could acquire Brendan Donovan and still go out and make a trade for someone like Lamont Wade Jr. I think Brendan Donovan is a premium player who the Yankees should be all over if made available. And I believe the Yankees do have starting pitching talent that could entice a team like the Cardinals, but we'll wait and see on that front. How do you see the fans cherish you and you just kicked him right in the dick? He faked it every time he used his hand gesture. He probably said in his head, every re-sign Soto is an extra $10 million. He was traded there. He never chose to be a New York Yankee. The Yankees acquired him. They were the only team that seriously pursued him on the trade market. I'm going to be honest with you. He does not owe anything to the fans. And, putting up an act to gain leverage in conversations is certainly important. Look, at the end of the day, I think if the Yankees had the highest offer on the table, and, I don't think they were ever going to have the highest offer on the table based on the lengths that Steve Cohen was going to go to. I think it's completely unfair to Juan Soto to say that he should have returned to the Yankees and left, $45 million on the table. The Yankees, if Juan Soto had a bad year last year, or if Juan Soto got hurt last year, they would use that against him. They were going to use reasons to not give him the money he was looking for. It's a business at the end of the day, and Juan Soto's participating in the business side of it. This is the business component of sports. This is the sad reality that this is a business. And I say the sad reality not to say, woe is the baseball fan who has to, watch their favorite player leave. But, I say sad in the standpoint of, it's unfortunate that that's the way things are, that you can't just go wherever you want to go because money's all going to be equal. The money talks. Money is interest. If you're Juan Soto, why can't you turn around and say, why didn't the New York Yankees offer me more money? Look at all the stuff I did for them. I took them to the World Series. The fans loved me. I was a fan favorite. I was arguably the most popular player on the team, and they didn't offer me more money than the Mets. Maybe he's heartbroken. I don't think he is. He got $800 million and was celebrating immediately after getting it. I don't think he's very heartbroken. But the Yankees didn't give him the financial number that the Mets were willing to give him. The Mets said they desire him more, and that reflected in the contract they offered. And look, maybe there were other things, bells and whistles, that the Mets were willing to offer that the Yankees weren't. Those are things that matter. I'm sorry. So, I don't think it's fair to pin this on Juan Soto. Am I upset that he's gone? Absolutely. But I'm just not going to be that kind of guy. So, yeah. Did Correa even play 100 games last year? No. Don't care, though. Correa's slimy, makes A-Rod look like a choir boy. Fine by me. Fine by me. Steve Cohen didn't learn from his previous mistake of paying a ton of money to buy a championship. He paid like archaic starters. This is very different from that. I think that I think it's unfair. Like, come on. It's Juan Soto. All of us would have done that. All of us would have. If you were told the Yankees are going to pay $800 million, but it guarantees Juan Soto's back, we'd all be like, yeah, shit. Yeah, sure. Why not? Right? Like whatever. It's not my money. That we justify it. Just like we're going to try to rationalize not having Juan Soto. Don't think Correa would waive his NCC to go to the Yankees, given how disliked he is. That's fair. I think he would, but we'll see. Correa has never lived up to his potential. He might be a Hall of Famer. Like, he straight up might be a Hall of Famer. If you're a prospect and being a Hall of Famer is not living up to your potential, good God, you must have been the greatest prospect of all time. I believe the only player who could legitimately argue that had LeBron James just been a Hall of Famer, I think you could argue he didn't live up to his potential. He is the greatest prospect potentially in all of sports history. And I'd even say that's crazy to argue. So, yeah. I don't think the Yankees want Bregman on the team because he's a cheater. No, I just don't think they think he fits very well in their ballpark. We need high IQ type of people first and foremost, someone who would play their position. Bellinger has mental lapse, high IQ first and foremost. I'm not sure what this means. I'm sorry. Luis Heal's a twin. That is true. Trading for Correa, he's good in the playoffs. He is historically great in the playoffs. White Sox are on crack with their ass, because of course they are. Houston's listening on Tucker. That's fair. I hope they get him, but I don't think they're going to trade for him. Wouldn't it be ironic if we just signed all the 2017 Astro free agents? Houston might boo us, lol. That'd be funny. I'd trade Spencer Jones, Luis Robert in a heartbeat. Yeah, absolutely. And then the White Sox would say no still. Yankees are not going to trade for 1 year rental. I don't care. They should. Cohen will go to $900 million. I think he would. Then the Yankees said of all prospects, Lombard's an untouchable one. The Yankees don't say anything. I guess it might have been reported on, but the Yankees don't say anything. I want the Yankees to kick tires on Ha-Sung Kim, posted on KBO, 3-time Gold Glove winner, hits 300. Maybe that translates to 280 in the majors. We get a contract and Gold Glove defense. So here's what I'm going to say in regards to Kim, and I'm going to pull up his numbers on Fangraphs just to get you guys a more accurate kind of thing here, because I know he's like a decent hitter, but not a great one. This year, he put up a 118 WRC plus. The year before that, it was 137. I don't view him as a good enough hitter to be someone I'd highly covet on the market. He's an excellent defensive infielder, and that is something of value, and he's only 25 years old. I get that, but I don't believe there's much power upside here. I don't believe this is the kind of player whose game translates extremely well to the major league level. He is maybe a solid role player, but I kind of comp him as like a 85 W. He's like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. That's kind of how I view him. So yeah. If Yankees went to Andrew Million, Cohen would have got 820. I agree. Boris went back to the Yankees, and Hal said F you. I don't think he said F you, but yeah. If Cohen held the Pirates, Soto would be a Pirate. Cohen could buy the entire Yankee organization in cash. He's just the richest man in the world right now, and he'd flex that. We do not need to make bad mistakes with position players and hurt us after next year. Fried's an excellent pitcher. I believe he's an excellent pitcher. I just don't think he's someone I'd guarantee $200 million to. Jones, Vivas, Pereira, Nestor for Luis Robert. I think the White Sox say no to that. Why? They don't have a need for Nestor Cortez. He's a one-year rental. I think Jones isn't enough to headline the deal for Luis Robert, although I would argue that Luis Robert's value is kind of tanked. I think if you were to throw someone like Chase Hampton, perhaps that's someone of a greater interest. The Yankees also reportedly have interest in Nolan Arenado. I'm going to check on this interest. Excuse me. I'm just trying to look at this here and see where, because Brian Hoke tweeted this out. I'm trying to see where the Yankees were linked. The Yankees, were approached by the Cardinals for Arenado. The Yankees do not have interest in Arenado. So, yeah, that's weird. That's kind of, that was really weird wording by Hoke. The Yankees don't have interest in Nolan Arenado. They don't. I don't want anyone running that. Let me read the exact line for you guys. Reports indicate that the Yankees were one team that has been approached by the Cardinals for about Arenado. They were approached by the Cardinals. So I don't know. I don't think the Yankees are really going to get him. I don't think the Yankees care to get Nolan Arenado. I think the Cardinals were like, hey, do you want him? And they were like, fuck no, this guy stinks. Because he stinks. I'm sorry, Arenado's not very good. And yeah, I'd rather have Goldschmidt than Nolan Arenado. I would agree. Because Goldschmidt's going to cost like $5 million and you can cut him if he sucks. Let's see. I'm just trying to get through all this because I want to wrap this up in a few. I got some stuff I got to handle tonight. I got, we're in the middle of finals week. So yeah. Let me get to this. Is there any way you can get Jock Peterson on this team? I want him so bad. The Yankees are not going to be able to get Jock Peterson because he's only going to be able to be a DH, and he's not going to be able to play first base or whatever position it is. I've traded the entire farm for Vlad over Tucker. I disagree. I'd rather go for Tucker. Astros definitely going to lose him. I agree. They will lose him in free agency. That is interesting. I wonder if, maybe they sell him on the whole you can live in Florida thing. So, yeah. What do you think about defensive, offensive players like Arenado, I guess? Bellinger, Walker, first base, and sign a starter and bullpen help. I'm not a fan of Arenado, not a huge fan of Bellinger, pretty decent fan of Walker. What about Yandy? I would love Yandy Diaz. Rizzo looking like a Pirate, Loizaga looking like a Met. That Rizzo report was fake, but the Loizaga one was real. What I won't listen to is people who say do nothing and punt, wait till next year. Yeah, I agree. You have to go all in. You can't punt. You can't. Get Luis Robert and try to get Nate low on both trades and pitching on the free agent market, Fried or Burns. I don't think the Yankees have enough prospect capital to pull this off, but I think if they could get Luis Robert, I think that's the one I don't know if they can do. If they traded, if they signed a starting pitcher like a Max Fried, yes, they could go out and get Nathaniel Lowe, I think, because they could trade Clark Schmidt for Nathaniel Lowe, and I think the Rangers would do that deal. If you were to have Nathaniel Lowe, Luis Robert, and then sign an outfielder, like signed Teoscar Hernandez. Wait, no, excuse me. You wouldn't need to sign out for that. That's Luis Robert Jr. You'd sign at second baseman, maybe. I'd sign Ha-Seong Kim. I'd be down for that. I'd be game for that. You know, little Luis Robert, Nate Lowe, Ha-Seong Kim action. That's quite the ball club. But we'll see. Oh, Luis Robert, gotcha. I don't know what the Cashman do. I don't know what they're going to do. Durbin may replace Cabrera, who may get traded. I don't know if Cabrera is going to get traded, but we'll see. Athletic reported that Houston's listening on Tucker and Valdez before they hit ARB this year. Yeah, I don't think it's likely that Tucker gets traded. I don't know how likely it is Valdez gets traded, but makes sense. How about trading for Nardi and Edwards from the Marlins? If you're talking about Xavier Edwards, highly doubt that the Marlins would trade a cost-controlled player. As for Andrew Nardi, I think it is possible that the Marlins look to move him. Is there a chance Soto deal falls through like Correa? I guess there is, but I doubt that. We can't make terrible long-term mistakes with lineup this offseason, which will hurt us for 5 years. Yeah, you want to be careful. So in the NL is fine with me. I'm not fine with it because we lost him. What are your thoughts on potentially getting Nico Horner? I believe that Nico Horner is a good player. I like Nico Horner a lot. And in the same vein, I think that Ha-Seong Kim is an excellent player. If you replaced at the offseason you had to put together and you put Ha-Seong Kim instead of Caleb Durbin, I think that's a contender. If Hal went up to 305, Cohen would have just kept going. Would have had to go to $1 billion if he had to. I agree. I think Cohen would have just kept going and kept going. He's going to be a Met no matter what. If Hal upped the offer, Cohen was just going to up it again. Hal said F you. Yeah, that's fair. Is there a 2-year plan that could work? I watched your podcast. I didn't say we weren't a World Series threat this year. I never said that. I want to clarify. I never said they weren't a World Series threat this year. What I did say is that they have to be wise with their spending and be cautious of that because you don't want to spend stupid money and get stuck in some bad contracts. Bregman Santander's Bellinger to Ellsbury 2.0. I think that it's different for Santander because it's a shorter-term deal. If Stroman is traded free, it is fine. I don't know how much money you could get off of Stroman's deal, but if you can get even off like $8 million of it, I'd do it. Mike Trippin, I think Dominguez should play center field, Judge play right field, and if they get Teo, he could go in left field. I think that'd be great. Kyle Tucker's a Yankees fan. I know this is true. Seriously, not making this shit up. I hope you're right. No thanks to Santander's dude's awful on D. I kind of don't care because he can hit, but I care from a contract standpoint. Yeah, I wouldn't pay him too much. Harper's a Yankee fan as well. And look what that got us. We didn't approach Harper. I think Harper would have loved if we approached them. Sherman should be a Giant. I agree. He would fit well there, and you could maybe offload some money. Sorry, but Soto's isn't worth that contract. Glad we didn't do it. I think most baseball people would agree he's not an $800 million player. But again, it's kind of hard to stomach not having Juan Soto. You know what I mean? I think it's both are true. How about Clark Schmidt, Dominguez package for Crochet, Robert Jr. package? I don't think the White Sox would want Schmidt because Schmidt is already in his arbitration years. He's not in their window. I meant OBP, not OPS earlier. Sorry. That's fair. I'd probably use OPS or WRC plus personally. Any interest in Robert Jr.? Yes. Not sure if the Yankees can get him. White Sox want prospects and prospects that are position players. Correct. That's why I think Schmidt wouldn't necessarily intrigue them. If Hal wants 805, Cole would have just kept going up. Yep, absolutely. Correa, yes, injuries worry me, but the swagger, they just lost that kind of guy. Elite playoff performer. Jazz flexibility on defense allows for more options. Absolutely. Yeah. Jazz gives you a lot of opportunities here. Astros total revenue is $445 million in 2024. They will not re-sign Tucker. I agree. I don't think the Houston Astros will re-sign Kyle Tucker. Personally, that's what I think. I could be wrong. Freed Bellinger. Freed and Bellinger. I think. Look, I think that would be a great. This would be a great offseason. I really do. Tried to delete the original comments and corrected it. Still showed up. You're all good, man. Yes. Why everyone's so obsessed with Bellinger? He's washed. I don't know if wash is the right word, but yeah. He's not a particularly great ball player. He's a good one, I think. Interested in trading for Correa. His contract is the perfect duration for the rise of Lombard. Yeah, it's fair. Still like Ben Rice, I do too. I think a slightly optimistic way of looking at things. We won't have as strong of an offense next season. If we do things right, we could have more consistency with the right pieces. That's fair. I would love Brendan Donovan, and I would love Lamont Wade Jr. The problem is that you can't do Lamont Wade and Walker, but if you did Donovan and Walker, you can get the home run. Yeah, I agree. You get some home run power and you get some OBP. Maybe clearing off $30 million off the books next season by losing Stroman, maybe Cortez and the Hicks Rizzo buyout. They could easily pay Tucker. I agree. The problem with Walker is that he has a QO. Yeah, that's something that's interesting. The qualifying offer is definitely something that I think will play a role in who the Yankees go after and how many free agents they go out and sign. Trading for Belly and Horner, signing Christian Walker and 2 potential starters, yeah, that would make them a better team and certainly something I think is realistic. Is Jose Ramirez available? No. Heard of Luis Rise, now I'm mad. Fair. Wanted to trade for Kyle and replace Soto. I know you can't replace Rizzo with his elite talent, but it'll heal some pain. I think Kyle Tucker is as close as you can get to Juan Soto. He's an elite player. Judging by the lack of quotes coming out, I'm assuming the Yankees are setting up fans for not great plan Bs. I think that they're set. They don't really know. I don't know what's going on. I don't think we know really what's going to happen. I think Curry mentioned multiple times that the Yankees are looking at various things. We'll see where this goes. That's going to be my answer. I'm going to wrap this up soon, but I'm going to get into final questions here. Who's your first choice at first base? Yandy Diaz is up there. I think he's my first choice. Or Josh Naylor. Yeah, those are one of my two first choices. Vlad's a Red Sox or a Met. I think he's a Red Sox. Vladdy said multiple times he hates the Yankees. He also did say last deadline he'd be willing to play for them if that's where he got traded to. But I agree he's not going to be a Yankee. Any chance to move Stroman? That's a waste of $18 million. Honestly, I think he'd be in for it at this point. I mean, I was very stunned to see him kind of go off on Twitter because he hadn't been very vocal criticizing people on Twitter when the Yankees initially signed him. So, I wonder if that's an indication of that, he might be gone. Pacing this offseason may be important. Yep. What about that Japanese MVP Murakami? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the Yankees are going to sign him, especially not this year. Yeah. Yeah. DJ contract stings could be, that one sucks right now. What about Tucker? Would love him. I don't think the Yankees are going to get him. I think I would do it 1 year. I don't care. I'll do it. I don't care. Luis Castillo would love it. Walker and Wade for Jones and Warren. I think you mean Ryan Walker and Lamont Wade Jr. for Jones and Warren. I would do that deal. Not sure if the Giants do that deal. Bringing back the dream of trading for Brandon Lau. I would love Brandon Lau in the New York Yankees. He's an excellent bat. Going to be higher on my chair so look tall is what I heard. That is exactly what I'm getting at. Wade and Walker for Schmidt, and Durbin. Also a realistic trade package, but I would prefer not trading Clark Schmidt for 1 year of Lamont Wade Jr. Could Ben Rice be a trade candidate? I think he could, but I don't think the White Sox would be super interested in him because, again, he's in his, he started his service time clock. A team I think could be interested. I think the Seattle Mariners could have interest in Ben Rice because they need first base help, and they don't look like they're going to be able to afford a Pete Alonso. Not sure if they'll afford a Christian Walker. Unsure if they'll acquire a Carlos Santana. Would you rather have Judge center or right field? Helen Dominguez for Tucker is a massive overpay. Dude has 1 year left. Absolutely. But I do it. And quite honestly, give him $500 million right after. Ben Rice for Yandy Diaz straight up. I do that. I think I'm thinking too emotion like a fan, so I sent it out. I knew Soto was all about the money, and he has every right to be. Soto automatically became my second favorite player. Crazy is on his fourth team. I'm heartbroken. I'm absolutely heartbroken. Soto's my favorite player on the team last year. I'm devastated. I completely get it, but it's my job to be objective and remove the fan aspect of this out. I'm very sad that he's gone. I'm very upset that he's gone. I'm heartbroken that he's gone. I'm frustrated. I'm honestly sad. I'm honestly very sad. And, I think I'm trying to hold it together because it's my job to be rational and not just doom and gloom because it's not fair to this fan base. It's not fair to you guys. You guys deserve a voice of reason. You guys have been great in that regard. And you guys deserve a voice of reason. Cray's been the modern day Jeter. A little different. Better defender than Jeter. Worse base runner. How trading for Correa, though? I don't know how likely it is, but I think the Yankees are suited to do it. Raise listing on Yandy and Lowe. The revenues this year are going to be brutal. If you could find a way to acquire both, that'd be great. Not sure the Yankees are going to be capable. Heal for Tucker 1-for-1. They need another starter. Valdez a free agent next season. I think you'd have to do healing somebody else. I think it could be healing like, a prospect. Maybe it's healing Chase Hampton. Maybe it's Luis Heel and, someone. I'd do Luis Heel and Roderick Arias. I'd do that in a heartbeat. I don't know how fans would feel, but I would do that. How would y'all feel if you got Alonso? Depends. If it's a 2-year deal, I'd be for it. If it's a short-term deal, I'd for it. If it's not, I'm not for it. Hill alone should be enough for Tucker. Hill and a prospect, borderline all-star starting picture for 5 years of control is insane value. That'd be insane to demand much more than that. You guys forget Juan Soto. You got, 2 years of Michael King, who was a more proven pitcher, I think, at that point in time. I think Michael King profiled as a better pitcher than Luis Heel does at this point in time. And I think Luis Seal's good. I just thought the world of Michael King, and I very much hit on Michael King in that regard. You saw two other pitching prospects, Brito and Vasquez, 5 years of control for both of them. Both of them were involved in that deal. Drew Thorpe, a top 100 prospect involved in that deal. Kyle Gashioka, backup catcher, quality one involved in that deal. I think a deal that would work for the Astros, Ben Rice, Clark Schmidt, Chase Hampton, and Clayton Beater. I think those 4 players would get you Kyle Tucker like that. I can't snap my fingers. I'm sorry, guys. I can, but I just couldn't there. Hold on, let's try. There we go. Get Teo, take him away from the Dodgers. I think Teoscar Hernandez would be a great fit for the Yankees offensively. Not sure defensively, but definitely offensively. This is a race type of player. He is very toolsy. Vlad says he has the Yankees. He's not coming to New York. I would agree that he's probably not heading to the New York Yankees. I do not want Nolan Arenado as well. Give the Astros the whole farm system for Tucker, go all in. I agree, but I don't think it's going to happen. We trade for Arenado, fire Cashman, not so wash. I would agree. Bobby Malone suggested a package of Luisio and Ben Rice or Kyle Tucker. I think that's legitimately a good return for Kyle Tucker. You're getting 5 years of a major league starting pitcher and a first base option for cheap for a team that wants a first baseman. So, I would do this in a heartbeat. I think the Astros would see if they can get more. I think they could get more for what it's worth. I think Kyle Tucker, I think a team would be desperate to go out and get Kyle Tucker. So, that's really where I'm at in that regard. Goalie Ben Rice platoon could cook. Yeah, but I think Goldschmidt's going to want a starting job. Cashman's will likely be like, no, but we'll take Donovan. I think that they would love to get someone like Donovan. Katie Wu said we had interest. I'm sorry. I did not read that part. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. Hold on. Let me look at this again. Katie Wu. Wow, she said the Yankees do have interest. Okay. That was 806. I don't want Nolan Arenado. I don't want him at all. Unless, here's what I would do. Would I trade for Nolan Arenado if it means that I could get Lars Nootbaar and I don't have to trade a significant player to get him? I would do that. I would do Nolan Arenado and Lars Nootbaar. I would do that deal if I didn't have to trade a significant player in return. I wouldn't want to trade a Luis Sealer or Clark Schmidt to do that. Because in that scenario, you get a left fielder, who I think is a quality left fielder. You get a third baseman, you can hit him sixth. I don't think Nolan Arenado is a very good player, to clarify. I don't love the idea of playing Nolan Arenado, but just entertain this for a second here. If you acquire 2 of those 2 players, and you don't really have to give up much to do it, I think that's a pretty good gamble to take. Nootbaar is someone who would profile well for the leadoff spot. It leaves you with the money to acquire a middle-of-the-order bat. Perhaps that middle-of-the-order bat is someone at first base. You could acquire someone to play first base for you, whether that's a Christian Walker. We'll see. If you have Walker and Arenado at the corners, you've got elite defense in the infield. You are significantly older in the corners, though. That's a concern, right? That's a worry. But it leaves you with a lot of money to go out and get pitching, and you can go get, maybe you go get a Corbin Burns, right? Let's say you have Garrett Cole, Corbin Burns, and you have a lineup where, you're leading off Lars Nootbaar. The only tough thing is you're not getting a big time lefty for the lineup. And that's something I think the Yankees would desperately miss. So, if you could get Arenado's contract and then get a player on top of that, I wonder if that's something that you could, kind of be in on. Anywho, would you be down for a Suzuki trade? I would love Seiya Suzuki. Don't think it's happening. This guy knows his stuff. Appreciate you. Jezu Run Blends. I'm really bad at pronouncing names. I apologize. I'm going to fly through these in the next few minutes. I got this. Rizzo Araki Low. What? Is that true? I didn't see that. If it is, it's funny. I would like Christian Walker. Not sure how much money they're going to be willing to give. Stroman for Duvall 1-for-1. That's not happening. No shot. Otani's underpaid 100%. Bellinger's a bum. That's fair. Tiny will retire billionaire. He's not underpaid. I mean by the team. What do you think of Hot Stove? Couldn't watch it. A lot of what I expected. Would you be down for a Seiya Suzuki trade? I said that I would be. I don't think the Cubs would be. Cashman's all bark, no bite. We'll see. Who knew DJ's contract would be terrible? Hicks RBW. That's a very good point. Spencer Jones plus Ben Rice for Luis Castillo. I would do it. How big of a package, would it take to get Robert Jr. and Crochet? Your entire organization, and they would still say no. I'm fully dooming after we couldn't re-sign Soto. I think they have to prove that they're going to be great. They have to prove it. Yankee fan and rational like oil and water. Fair. What's the point of any Yankee news or even baseball news? Oh, what's up with Yankee news or baseball news yet today? There's not much going on. Heal's worth a ton of money in this market, to be honest. Absolutely. He's a cheap starting pitcher. Want no parts of Nolan Arenado? That's fair. I understand. I completely understand, man. Josh Hernandez wants 5 years, I heard. Is that right? I don't have sources to indicate like that's true or false. What's likely to happen next? I don't know. Is Kyle Tucker to Yankees even a rumor or realistic? The rumor is that the Astros are listening in. That's the rumor. Imagine Cole, Corbin Burns, Rodon Heals a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the best rotation in baseball side of the Dodgers, and you'd have Clark Schmidt as your 5. Maybe you can move. Actually, what you could probably do is if you did Newt Bar and Arenado for slapdick prospect. Could you go, trade Nestor Cortez for Josh Naylor? Go get Josh Naylor to play first base for you. You've got your big left-handed bat. You've got Newt Bar, Judge, Naylor. Maybe you go and get, maybe you get a little more aggressive. You keep Nestor. You trade for Nate Lowe. You've got, Newt Bar, Judge, Lowe, Stanton, Chisholm, Arenado, Wells, Dominguez, Volpe. I could rock with that lineup. I think that'd be a great defensive team, a great offensive team. Not a great offensive team, a good offensive team. Very strong defensive team with Newt Bar in left field. He's a very excellent defensive left fielder. And it leaves you with quite a bit of money to go out and get pitching. You go out and get a Max Fried or a Corbin Burns. You're getting an excellent starting pitcher. Perhaps it allows you to go out and add for your bullpen and certify, kind of shore up that group, give you an excellent pitching staff, provide you with the kind of roster that can contend for a World Series in 2024. No joke. I gotta see. It'd be a good fit. I mean, that'd be smart stuff. Someone suggested this in the group chat I'm in. Use not to get Brendan Donovan. I just wanted to float that out there. I wouldn't know about them trading 2 infielders. Not gonna lie. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna oh, no, it's a joke. Sorry. Anywho, look, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I appreciate you guys tuning in to Fireside Yankees on this stream. I'm going to wrap things up here because it's getting a little late. I've got some stuff to handle with school. Thank you guys. Really, I appreciate you guys so much. I would love Brendan Donovan. I would too. Did you guys see the Yankees trade for Tucker? Is that it's a fun thing to think about. The only thing that's realistic is that there's a report out there that there is the Astros are listening to anything. We do have a public Twitter group chat. Ball Knower group chat starting when? If you want to throw me in a group chat, I'm all ears for that, Ken. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in and being here during this stream. It sucks that we're not sitting here and celebrating signing Juan Soto. It sucks. It does. I'm sad. But shit happens, and you've got to move on and move on forward. When the sun sets, I'm going to use a saying here that my girlfriend told me very early into meeting her that I think is very important for this situation. And I'm going to read it right off the wall because I have it hanging here. I think it's a very important piece of advice to always heed in trying times. The sun will rise again and the sun will set again. The sun sets, the sun rises. That's a guarantee. Every single day, the sun will set and the sun will rise. You're guaranteed adversity and you're guaranteed times of triumph, right? That's just the ups and downs in life. You're guaranteed ups, you're guaranteed downs. What you make the most of these ups and downs is, up to you. What you do after these ups and downs, again, up to you. But the sun will set, the sun will rise again. The sun set on the New York Yankees and Juan Soto, but the sun will rise again on this season in 2025, and we'll see if the New York Yankees are able to do something in this winter and put together a great roster. There are things that are bigger than sports. It's not the end of the world. It's not the Yankees are over. It's not 30 years where the Mets are winning every single World Series and the Yankees are bottom dwellers. They have the most accomplished active GM in the sport at the helm. They have an ownership group that was willing to go for $760 for Juan Soto, and they have the reigning AL MVP and the best hitter on the planet, and they have one of the best pitchers on the planet. So I just think it's important to put that onto context. The sun will rise again. The sun will set again. Everyone, have a great night. Thank you again for tuning in. I love you all. Peace out.